Today I would like to share with you my experience of Barolo Castelletto, one of the most interesting single vineyards in the commune of Monforte d'Alba. When you drive from the bottom of the valley in Castiglione Falletto, you will find a small road that drives steep up the hill towards Monforte. That's where Castelletto is located. Something unusual about Castelletto is that it is divided in two parts, a lower part and a higher part, with another single vineyard in the middle called Presenda. Now, some people will argue that Presenda is nothing but the heart of Castelletto. But on the other hand, when we analyze Castelletto, we do have to keep into consideration the different altitude. The lower part is in fact only 250-300 meters above sea level. The upper part is more than 400 up to 500 meters above sea level. It is a rather large extension of 128 hectares, so slightly more than 300 acres of vineyards, 60% of which are cultivated with Nebbiolo grapes for Barolo wine. The exposure goes from southeast to a full south, and I must say that most of these vineyards have a wonderful exposure. And the soil is fantastic. It's the so-called Serravallian that gives origin to the famous full-bodied, powerful, long-lasting Barolos of Monforte d'Alba. As you know, Monforte is divided between more Tortonian, that has power still, but also more elegance, and the Serravallian, which gives a straightforward, the very strong Barolos. In this case, we may also take into consideration, again, the different altitude. The bottom of the hill seems to be even tighter clayish, while going towards the top, we find the soil that is slightly sandier. And this may be contrary to our expectation, but it's due to different sedimentations that occurred over the ages with marine sandy sedimentations. In 1980, my father Gigi acquired a piece of land in Castelletto and he replanted a Barolo vineyard. So we've had experience with Barolo Castelletto throughout the 80s and the 90s until the early years 2000. Now, I've chosen from my collection a bottle of Castelletto, but an old one. I've chosen a 1998. It's now 23 years old, it's pretty old. But this will give us a chance to not only to test the quality of this single vineyard, but also to experience the longevity and to find out whether it is really as long-lasting as it promises to be. As I opened the bottle, the cork broke in the middle, but it was a good cork and the wine is still good. I'm sure you've had this experience before. Sometimes you say that a cork can last about 20 years. If the wine is older than that, you can expect the cork to dry out in the middle and sometimes break. So I have decided not to decant the wine. I don't want to shake it too much. I want to taste it as it is. This is very exciting because I haven't tasted this wine in a long time myself. Well, look at the color. It's very bright. It's still orangey in the middle, and it has developed a thick rim which has a strong amber color, much to be expected as a sign of the age. From Castelletto, we expect definitely rather sober, rather austere bouquet. And this is true in the glass. Here, we definitely have a lot of forest flowers, dried flowers. We have no fruits, but lots of spicy elements. Veering towards eucalyptus, towards licorice, and then further there's plenty of tobacco leaf, really cigar quality, very earthy, very terroir, and gunpowder, you know. This is tight, this is a little dark if you want, austere in this sense, but deep, and it's opening up to more and more complexity. So it's impossible to grasp it in one definition. Definitely earthy and spicy are the two dominant elements. With something more, it goes towards meat. There's a meaty element, very much to be expected from this cru, from Castelletto. It holds together. more than I expected. Alcohol is there. It seems even more than it is. This is just barely 14%, but very warm, long, deep, chewy. The tannin is softened, but not completely. It still has a bite, still chewy. Something very balsamic about it. Dominant is the balsamic aspect that we mentioned in the bouquet, but still comes back also in the taste. There's an aroma of herbs that reminds you of roast beef cooked in herbs, rosemary in particular. Quite a long finish, not flat at all, has acidity, has all the building elements are still there. The alcohol, the tannin, the acidity are still there, still holding on together. So it's difficult to judge whether this is slightly over the hill, as I almost thought when I saw the color. I saw this yellow rim and I thought this wine may be over the hill. But when I tasted, I don't think so. I think it's still lively. So it can be deceptive. This is what happens with Barolo from Monforte d'Alba, in particular Barolo from Castelletto. You think it went ahead, you look at it, you think it's tired, it's old, then you taste it, and some kind of youth comes back. This is the best aspect that takes us aback and surprises us in Barolo Castelletto. Don't undervalue it. In the end, my experience of Barolo Castelletto mostly confirms the expectation. Yes, the Barolo is tight, it is full-bodied, tannic, slowly ripening, but this is not bad. This can actually be truly very good. It's a slowly growing Barolo and you have to give it time. Don't rush to drink it. Put it away in your cellar and drink it a few years later. As we saw, it can last more than 20 years. You may say that it's slightly old-fashioned, but I like to put it in different words. I prefer to say that it's a Barolo that belongs to tradition, the great tradition of classic Barolos, the tradition that made Barolo known and appreciated all around the world.